He's been there 20 years.
Wow. Now, he said Meehan, not Meehan.
Meehan. Okay, let's go with it.
All right. A pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Pam Evans Smith Arena on the campus of Wittenberg University. This is Ohio High School Athletic Association Championship Volleyball Weekend for the boys, as Division I and Division II will crown their champions this weekend. With Jackie Klein, I'm Chris Solwecki. Thank you so much to be a part of today's broadcast. And Jackie, as we look at these two semifinal matchups in Division I, we start off with a dandy. We got Hudson, the Explorers, who were here in 2023. They are back, hoping to be able to take what they learned then and apply it to what they know now against the Olentangy Berlin Bears, who over the last several years, that whole school has become kind of a juggernaut of volleyball, both in girls and boys. And they are here looking to break through the ceiling they've experienced and win a state championship this weekend.
The Bears have been spending the past 3-4 years really developing these players to be here right now. Now, they have played the Explorers now twice this year and have taken them down both times, but you know, third time's a charm. You can definitely see from the floor here that there is a significant height difference. And so what we're going to see from the Hudson Explorers is they are going to be scrappy. 6 of these players on this team are coming into this tournament with 100+ digs. So we're not going to see a lot of blocks or really hard-driven attacks, but we are going to see some digs coming from the Explorers.
Jet Boyce serves first for the Bears of Olentangy Berlin. Good job by Hudson to get it across. Here we go on the attack for the Bears. It is in, but we've got a whistle and a net violation. And so even though that went out, it's going to be Olentangy Berlin's point, and they continue to serve. Boyce with the toss to serve back middle. Back set, dinked across. Here come the Bears on the attack. Back set, left-handed swing into the block, and that's going to go out of bounds. Great swing by a 22, Jacob Lusk, but a great block by Christian Renna, his alternate 22.
I think I spoke too soon about not seeing a lot of blocks because the Explorers went up taking care of that right-handed attack very, very well.
Jackson Battaglia with the serve for Hudson. Good swing on the near side, but it's handled nicely. We've got a whistle, and we've got a net violation against the Berlin Bears, and so the point goes to Hudson, and they lead early here in set number 1, 2-1.
There's so much adrenaline that comes into one of these, you know, semifinal matches, and these guys haven't practiced on this floor before, so this is kind of a new feel. They've got to kind of settle in.
There's a pass across. I don't think it was intended to go across on the one, but it did, and it set Berlin on their heels. They couldn't receive it. 3-1, Hudson with the lead. Battaglia continues to serve. Middle back, the libero came up with it. Cross-court swing. Nice dig. Back row swing. Into the block and out of bounds. Hudson has the early lead, and an awful lot of momentum for the Explorers right now.
I expect that to come from Hudson a lot. The toolbox talk is going to come out a lot. They're going to tool the block. They're going to do a lot of roll shots, and they're going to take advantage of those points where they can get them.
Free ball across. Here comes Hudson on the attack. Bat set. Down the line. Point for the Explorers. A big swing by James Hummel.
James Hummel coming on the right side there. That set was a quick tempo set, so the block coming from the Bears was a little bit slow to get there, leaving a hole.
Set to the middle. Good recovery on the coverage. Sent across, dug in the back row. Patcham come up with it. That's going to go out down in front, and so the point comes across to Berlin. They needed that. They pick up the point. More than that, they break the serve and get it back for themselves to that serving line. Go for the Bears, number 8, Mitch Moran.
Interesting fact, Mitch Moran was the libero last year, but he's moved into that outside hitter role. Why? Because he's such a smart hitter. We're going to see him, again, use that toolbox. He's going to hit shots. He's going to aim for the opponent in their weak areas and take advantage of it.
Tremendous block by Jacob Lusk, number 22, to pick up the point for the Bears as they continue to serve, trailing 5-3. Middle back, good reception back there by Zapponi. Near side, into the block and down. The point to Olentangy Berlin, and they have climbed back in, trailing now just by 1. (5-4), Hudson with the lead. That serve is airmailed out of bounds, and the point goes to Hudson. They lead by 2, and they get the serve back to the serving line for the Explorers, number 4, Owen Stearns.
The serving situation in the men's or boys game is a little bit different than the girls. A lot of risk versus reward. So you're going to see a lot of hard-driven balls, and sometimes they do get sent pretty far out of bounds, but it's worth it in some cases.
Good swing by number 4 for Olentangy Berlin, Kushal Pachim. He was able to tuck it inside the net, or inside the antenna, I should say, and down for the point. And the serve to the libero, number 1, Matthew Kleeman. Good reception, middle back, set to the outside. Gentle pass across. Here they come on the attack, the Bears, and a big swing by the lefty, Jacob Lusk.
Jacob Lusk, he's 6'6", senior, very smart with how he handles the ball on the right side. He's also a crucial component of their defense. He needs to be blocking the outside attack on a regular basis and staying for those threes, and we're going to see him really do that well today.
So we just saw another point for Olentangy Berlin. They're up 7-6. A lot of times you'll talk in situations like this as that serve goes long. You talk in situations like this, like Berlin took the best punch that Hudson had. Now, we don't know if that's the best punch they had, but Hudson came out with all the momentum. Berlin has now fought back. What does that do for your psyche as a team when you go down by 5 and then all of a sudden you're tied at 7? Like you climb back so quickly.
Yeah, so when you're down, it's important that your only goal is to get tied back up with your opponent. And so keeping that game small instead of thinking about the end result, thinking about just 1 point at a time, and keeping that momentum going. Remembering at the beginning of a match, a lot of it is learning what your opponent looks and feels like. And so if you can stay in that headspace and keep a positive mindset, it's real easy to come back.
Double contact called on Olentangy Berlin's number 10, Riley Tarian, swing across, and that'll be a point. So you have a misplay, and then you call on Jacob Lusk to make the difference, and Lusk gets the big point there.
And Lusk is left-handed, and typically you see lefties on the right side, but when they go back to serve, the ball curves differently, and it's very hard to pass. You're not used to that. Unfortunately, that one went a little bit long, but you usually see a left-handed server earning a few extra points from the service line.
9-8, Hudson with the lead. Good serve to the middle back. Here come the Berlin Bears on the attack. Pushed across, received. We'll talk about what I just saw in just a moment. From the back row, big swing into the net and down. One of the things about this gym in particular with boys volleyball is the scoreboard hangs really low. There's a good chance we're going to see some balls contact that scoreboard. When that happens, what's the story?
Sure, so it's either still alive if the ball hits that scoreboard and comes back down to your own side and you still have a contact available for that play. But at any time the ball hits anything up in the ceiling and then goes over to your opponent's side, the referee will instantly call that a fault and it'll be called out of bounds.
Point goes to the Berlin Bears, and they're back to the lead now at 10-9. Here's Kushal Pachim to serve for Olentangy Berlin. That one's too long, and we're tied up again. Got a chance to see Michelle Mimno, one of our friends from broadcasting and the girls volleyball coach at Olentangy Berlin. And you could just hear the excitement in her voice, not just that her school's kids are here, but just the possibilities, right? The anticipation, the excitement, the hard work that has earned their space here. It's fun to have teachers and coaches who are in your corner like that.
Yeah, she's so proud of these guys and the coaching staff. She was explaining to me how much work they've put into developing these guys over the past 3 or 4 years. And so it's a very well-deserved stage for them to be at. Oh, we have an out-of-rotation call on Hudson. So having these professional referees here, they're watching that very close. And it's important that you stay between or behind or in front of whoever you are supposed to be onside. It's kind of like being offsides or onside. You got to make sure that you're in the right rotation.
We've got a discussion on the floor with the floor official and the coaches from Hudson and one of the players from Hudson. And the coaches won the argument, and they're going to get a replay on that last play.
Sure, and we're all human.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
She's willing to listen to, what was supposed to be there, and then she realized she was wrong and changed her call.
Big swing into the block and down. Oh my goodness. What a presence at the net for Olentangy Berlin.
So that block got awarded to Jet Boyce. He is the Berlin Bears setter. So they are running a 5-1. He is currently in the front row, and so is Hudson's setter. So there is going to be a little bit of a battle of offenses when it comes to the setting position.
Side out for the Explorers. They trail 12-11, but they have hung with this Olentangy Berlin team every step of the way through the first third or so of set number one of this semifinal match. Floating serve by Fischer Zapponi, set to the outside, swung down the line. Point for Olentangy Berlin.
Mitch Moran's back in the front row, and that's so important for the Bears. Again, we talked about him just being a smart player. We didn't see a lot of velocity put on that ball, but he definitely found the floor and was able to get it there,
Jet Boyce with the floater. You saw that one go off the... Now there's one that goes off the scoreboard. So you saw one come off a banner, but it was on that team's side, so they're to play it. But as soon as it hits the scoreboard and comes down on the opposite side, it's immediately a dead ball and a side out to the other team.
Exactly, and the referees were on that.
Good serve to the middle back. Outside set. Big swing, cross court, but out of bounds. Trying to catch that sideline was number 4, Owen Stearns, but to no avail.
Owen Stearns is the Explorers player to watch, okay? So he is coming into this match, really carrying the stats over 3 categories. 47 aces, 245 kills, 140 digs. So he's really who this team is leaning on, to carry some of those points for them through this match.
So we've had a chance to see both of these teams now well into this first set. And like we said, we saw Hudson come out to a fast start. Olentangy Berlin has responded. Now they've opened up a little bit of a lead, 4-point lead. Talk to me a little bit about what you've seen from both teams. Let's start with the Explorers. What have you seen? What adjustments maybe need to be made right now?
So I just think it's a physicality thing right now. And so Hudson has to really start thinking smart. First and foremost, they have to receive well. So they need to be able to pass this ball high to the middle of the volleyball court so their setter can make decisions. And also, they only have 2 hitters in the front row right now. So I would suggest that they start utilizing some back row attacks if they need it.
We'll talk a little bit there, talk about that. It's like they heard you. Back row attack. Unfortunately for the Hudson Explorers, Berlin was there for the block as Cunningham put it away. And so the serve comes back to Olentangy Berlin. Jet Boyce to do the honors, leading now by 5. Set to the outside. Big elevation, but goodness gracious. And this is where you see the certain size differential between these two teams, because you've got number 18, Ty Cunningham, number 22, Jacob Lusk, and they are creating a wall on this side of the court.
And it's draining. When you're hitting against a great blocking team, you have to start hitting shots that feel more like free balls going to the other team, and that doesn't, it kind of feels counteractive of what you really should be doing as an attacker, but that is what they need to do. The Explorers, Owens has to be looking for a 4-to-4 shot, trying to hit corners, trying to tool fingers on the way up. Those are all things that he's got to take advantage of right now.
Cunningham, Lusk, and Ralabandi are 6'7", 6'6", and 6'5", respectively. For Hudson, their tallest player They have a couple of guys who are 6'3", one who's a freshman, the other who's a senior, Christian Renna. So you're talking about a significant size difference at the net, especially in that rotation when you've got 2 or 3 of those guys inside the 10-foot line.
And that was a really great play they just ran. They ran something quicker instead of a high ball. High balls give blockers time to see and go. And so that's what they need to keep doing.
There's a deflection off the hit by Jacob Lusk, and so Berlin has a 19-12 lead now, and they are starting to pull away from the Explorers here in set number 1. High toss, big swing, middle back, nothing happening. Here comes Hudson on the attack. Off the block, nice swing, and a great job at breaking serve for James Hummel. Hudson gets it back. They still trail by 6, but that's a great momentum crusher by Hummel.
It was a very smart play. So making sure that they're stacking hitters on one side is going to make sure that the Bears' block is spread out more. But
what a great set. Goodness, I mean, the kill was unbelievable, but the set was right. I mean, it made life easy for the attacker.
It was spot on there, and that attack went straight to the floor. I mean, usually you are encouraging your attackers to hit deep and wide, but that ball went right to the middle of the floor, just showing you that there's not a really tall block in front of the Bears.
There's a kill on the far side. Gets between the block, set up by number 4, Kushal Pacham, and number 10, O'Reilly Terrian. So now it's going to be number 12, Olentangy to the serving line for the Explorers, trailing by 6. Floater, outside, down the line, good dig. A little float to the back row. On the attack, middle swing, into the net. Good effort by number 22 that time, Jacob Lusk, but he couldn't put it home. It's back to Hudson.
And that's an interesting play. They just ran what's called a double quick. So they had a back one and a front one. Unfortunately, he just hit it weird, and it didn't go over. It hit the net first, but it's not a bad play to run.
High elevation that goes out of bounds. No touch is called, and so the point stays with Hudson. They have cut the deficit to 4. And this will be serve number 3 in a row for number 12, Olentangy. Tandy, middle back. Quick middle, up and down. Nice swing by number 10, Riley Terrian.
Those quick attacks seem to be catching the block off guard for both teams. And so that's definitely something to keep in mind as we're going through this match, that when these teams get in trouble, I expect them to probably go to their middle if they can.
Right down the middle. Holy mackerel, what a kill. That was Fisher Zapponi with the kill. 21-17. The Explorers trying to climb back. Down the line, good dig. Dinked across. The Bears back row off the tape. Good adjustment. Sent across, good dig by Kleeman. Down the line, out of bounds, no touch. And Hudson has cut the deficit to 3.
Hudson's doing a great job of just keeping their serves inbounds. Okay, so we talked about kind of risk versus reward with men serving. Well, they're just doing a jump float serve. Usually with a jump float serve in the men's game, you're trying to take the ball with your hands. So when they're forced to pass it with their forearms, it doesn't always end up being a real clean pass.
The serve comes back to Olentangy Berlin. It'll be number 4, Kushal Pacham to serve. Big swing, good reception, tight to the net. And a free ball across. Here come the Bears on the attack to the outside. Big swing off the tape and out of bounds. It catches the antenna as it spins left, so that'll be a point for Hudson and the serve.
Moran was trying to go for fingers. He was trying to do what's called a wipe play. So he was trying to go for that outside pinky on the right side blocker, but unfortunately he clipped the antenna before he got any hands.
Sam Disney with the serve. I talked to his parents before the game and said, what's it like growing up with a name like Disney? And they said, oh, it's amazing. You get into all kinds of places. So I love it.
It's easy for us to remember, too, isn't it?
That's true, yeah. 23-19, the serve back to the Olentangy Berlin Bears, but not before a timeout is taken on the floor. We'll step aside. More to come after this timeout. 23-13, Olentangy Berlin on top in set number 1 from Pam Evans Smith Arena. Olentangy Berlin 23, Hudson 19 out of the timeout. We are welcoming you back to Pam Evans Smith Arena, set number 1 of semifinal number 1 in Division 1. The Bears from Delaware County in central Ohio, and the Explorers from the northern part of the state. A team that was here 3 years ago and is making a return with a better understanding of what championship weekend looks like here at Pam Evans Smith Arena. Hudson got the point, gets it back. Go ahead.
They came in today taking this very seriously. I got to watch them in the warm-up arena. The guys were in the right headspace and really working hard on what the strategy was beforehand. And Coach Meehan is just a nice guy. He's been in this school for 20 years.
Wow.
He's got expectations, but he just kept telling me how special this group of guys are, despite the fact that they're smaller, but they don't have a lot to choose from. They're a pretty small public school, so they get what they get, and then they work through it together.
Sent right back to the outside, into the tape and down. That'll be a point for Hudson. Don't look now. The Explorers are climbing back in, trailing by only 1. Timeout taken. So that gives us a chance for me to ask this question. I think this is important. You just mentioned Hudson, a public school, kind of smaller. We've seen in girls volleyball the move to 7 divisions. Boys volleyball is not ready to do that yet. They're still at 2 divisions. But the reality is, as the popularity of the sport grows and more schools get on board, we're going to see a little less disparity between a school like Hudson. They would be Division II or Division III perhaps 2 or 3 years from now, and that may make all the difference in what their expectations are even coming into a weekend like this.
You're right, and all of these divisions are decided by how many guys are in the school. You know, so year to year, as more or less male participants at the school are even there, will determine what division you go up or down to. But I will tell you that this sport, boys volleyball, is growing,
exploding
exponentially. I mean, most volleyball clubs are now having boys volleyball where they've only in the past worried about girls. And so this is just going to continue to grow, and especially internationally with some really cool players like Simeon Nikolov. Changing the flair of the game is just going to keep kids coming out for this sport.
Dinked across is a touch. We got a touch, and we're tied at 23. Holy mackerel, what a first set. What a great way to start the weekend. Speaking of that, you mentioned to me before we got started that your club, Elite Volleyball Training Center, you have begun to train up young men to be a part of this great sport.
Oh, and I love it. Those boys are so respectful. Coach Jackie, how was your day? And I really love working with these young boys and teaching them how to be respectful of a coach or a female elder. But it's even cooler to see the male coaches teaching these boys how to become awesome, confident men.
I love it. Absolutely. So Hudson has climbed all the way back, and not only have they climbed back, but they actually have the lead now, which caused Olentangy Berlin to take their second timeout. So both teams are out of timeouts as we approach set point of set number 1 here at Pam Evans Smith Arena. and just a tremendous opportunity. All day long, we'll be on the NFHS network. We've got this one, you and I next. We have Moeller, who was here last in 2023. They have won like 9 state championships, but the most recent in 2023, and that's the only one since the OHSAA has sanctioned the sport, so to speak. So they're looking to put their stamp on another great season, and they are going to be having their hands full in that second semifinal matchup as well.
And they took out some pretty big contenders to get here.
Oh.
And so we're expecting some good volleyball all throughout today.
And they'll face the runners-up from a year ago, Thomas Worthington there in Columbus. And that's a side out on the Hudson side of the net, so we are tied at 24. And it'll be number 3, Jet Boyce to the serving line. Boyce floats middle back, tough one. High elevation off the touch and down. That's a point for Owen Stearns and the Hudson Explorers, and they now have set point.
Serving for the set, number 13, Jackson Battaglia.
Jackson Battaglia to finish this one if he can. And he serves too long.
So very similar to tennis, we can use the term of deuce. We are at deuce right now. You have to win by 2 points in order to win the set. Okay? Winning this next point gives you the advantage. You only have 1 point you have to earn, where the other team has to get 3.
Off the scoreboard and down, so the point goes to Hudson. A big swing by Mitch Moran gives them the point, and it's set point once again. Here's Owen Stearns to serve for the set. Really good swing, tight to the net, good set outside. And splits a couple of defenders, the point's down, and here we are at deuce again. Substitution as Riley Tieran checks back in for the Bears, replacing Kai Price. Matthew Kleeman to the serving line for Olentangy Berlin. Into the net.
It is a lot of pressure on that service line when you are so close like this. But I listened to a coach explain, you have to live in gravity. Gravity is a constant force on us. You got to get the ball to the middle of the court. Just make sure it stays in bounds on your serve.
Olentangy had the serve. Hudson trying to keep it alive. They floated across but out of bounds. And here we go with another deuce situation between these two teams. What a great set, number 1, to kick off the weekend here at Pam Evans Smith Arena.
So we have an interesting situation here. So we talked about running a 5-1. Right now, the Bears setter is now front row, okay? The Explorers setter is still back row, but in the next rotation, he will come to the front row, and he's their shortest blocker. That's where the Bears want this to get to, okay? If it continues to be deuce, they will have the advantage in about 1 rotation here.
Well, it's advantage here for Olentangy Berlin, and Jacob Lusk can finish it off for the Bears. To the middle, big swing, big point. Holy mackerel, Fisher's a pony.
All right, so Battagliani is now front row, and the Explorers have to make sure that this service situation gives them the advantage.
Out of bounds, no touch, so Hummel gets the point. It's advantage for Hudson now.
Now I
and
expect
James
this
Hummel to win it.
ball to go outside. It's going to go outside for the Bears because they're looking to take advantage of that short block.
On a slide, touch for the match set, I should say. Outside, keeping it alive. Can they? No. The point goes to the Bears, and we are tied once again.
And now Mitch Moran has come to the front row for the Bears. So the Bears have to just keep getting him the ball, let him make choices out there on the outside pin.
Kushal Patyam to serve for the Bears, and that's too long. Service errors are killers in situations like this. Hudson, Sam Disney with a chance to make some magic here in set number 1. The toss, the jump, the swing. On the attack, here come the Bears to the outside. Cut across out of bounds. And set number 1 goes to the Explorers of Hudson High School. 31-29. Still plenty of great volleyball to go. Stay with us. Set number 2 on the other side of this timeout. This is Championship Weekend on the NFHS Network. Set number 2 about to get underway from Pam Evans Smith Arena. Hudson got the first one after going well into overtime. 31-29 was the final in that one. Now it's Jackson Battaglia looking to build on that momentum. That one goes into the block and out of bounds, so the point and the side out goes to Olentangy Berlin. They lead at 1-0.
The name of this set is going to be error management. The team that can make sure that they make less errors. You know, in men's volleyball, it comes down to sometimes you just want to hit it as hard as you possibly can, but that's not always the smartest way to do it. And so that's what happened and why Hudson was able to win that first set, is they just continued to just keep the ball in bounds, forcing the Bears to have to make decisions and resulting in a few errors at the end there.
Christian Renna picked up the point for Hudson there. We're tied at 1, and the serve coming now from Owen Stearns. That one's across the net and out of bounds, so an overpass that couldn't stay in the court, and Hudson has the early lead 2-1.
And that's a really high velocity serve. That's getting on the passer really fast, and it's hard to control that, especially when you're worried about some of the things happening in the ceiling. You don't want it to go too high because you might result in a fault. So that's what happened there.
Cross court and down. I'll say this, and I know you've done a lot more of this coaching and stuff than I have, but it feels like right now one of the things Hudson is doing exceptionally well is communication. They're talking really well. There have been no "I got it, you got it" kind of moments. They've all talked it through.
You're right. So in practice situations, they have been doing a lot of pursuit drills. And if I have to go run a ball down outside of the lines of the volleyball court, what is that going to look like, and who's going to help me? And that's definitely come into play. We saw that in first set, and we'll definitely see it in this set also.
Well, it seems that some of that would be born out of necessity, being a shorter team, a team that's 6'3" across the front, because you're not going to have a lot of blocks at the net. You're going to have to pursue. You're going to have to chase. You're going to have to follow deflections. You're going to have to be all over the floor.
Right, and I would fully imagine at practice they're not even worrying about a block. Let's just stand there, buckle up, and get ready for what's coming at us.
What's coming at him right now is a swing from the far side. That's number 4 for Olentangy Berlin, Kushal Patium, who comes up with a point.
We expected to say his name an awful lot today. I just don't think the rhythm's been there, and so that's what they need to find is the rhythm. Jet Boyce has got to get the ball out to his outside so they can develop a rhythm of hitting the ball either line or cross instead of always feeling like they have to save the ball.
It's sneaky that way, though, because Patium is actually the leading attacker for Olentangy Berlin. He's got 14 attacks. The problem is 4 of them are errors and 6 of them are kills, so he's not been incredibly efficient with his scoring, but he has been a go-to person as he is there. Bumper to the backside. Down the line. What a great placement. That's by number 4 of Hudson, Owen Stearns, who comes up with a point. 6-3, the Explorers lead it.
Owen Stearns looking for that deep or wide shot. Those corners are very open, okay? They are in every volleyball game. And so if you can get that ball there, you're going to at least create chaos for the other team.
Cross court, good dig. Boyce with the dig. There's a free ball coming across. Here comes Hudson on the attack. To the middle, up and down. Goodness gracious. Fisher's a pony. Went up and crushed that thing inside the 10-foot line.
So that's what the Bears have to expect. So they're going to start on a good pass. Hudson is going to set that first tempo option, which is either the front one or the 31, okay? We very rarely see guys running slides or A's off of 1 foot behind the setter. So that's what the Bears have to be set up for, okay? Now, all the other shots are going to be shoddy. They're going to be looking for a finger, or they're going to be looking for a corner. But I just don't foresee the Explorers making silly errors moving forward here.
We didn't get a chance at the beginning of the match to tell you who the officials were, but these officials are all high school sanctioned officials who work their tails off all season long. Part of the reason they get here is because coaches have said that they are some of the best that we have. So we want to honor them by mentioning their names. The line judges for this Division I semifinal are Michael Davis and Carl Wittenberg. Referee number 2 on the floor is Monique Huffman, and referee number 1 is Mark Rosen. He's up on the ladder for this matchup between Olentangy Berlin and Hudson. Certainly, if you have a passion to stay involved in high school sports of any kind, officiating is a great way to do it. And we appreciate these folks doing so much work to get better at what they do and to bring excellence to what is a very thankless job very often. That swing goes out of bounds from Lusk. The point goes to Hudson. They now lead by 5, 8-3.
So right now, the hitters for the Bears are trying to avoid the block. And what I tell my athletes on a regular basis is don't try to avoid it. Sometimes you got to go right through it, just like that. And it creates chaos.
Just long, a back row swing. Owen Stearns did his best. He was well behind the 10-foot line. He was away in the back row and had a jump attack, but could not get it to stay within the lines. 8-4, quick one in the middle, up and down, and there he is again, number 2, Fisher's a pony.
That needs to continue to happen. So Jackson's got to keep setting his quick attacker anytime he can, because it seems to be sneaking past those blockers real easy from the Bears side.
That one goes into the net. Back row! What a swing! Owen Stearns.
So remember I was talking a little bit about Simeon Nikolov and a little bit of flair that he's bringing to the game? That's some of the flair right there.
Love
Hitting it on two. So especially out of the back row, that takes a really high volleyball IQ.
Good rescue there in the middle on the bad pass, but unable to set up Patium to do anything with it. And so the ball went out of bounds, and Hudson now with a 7-point advantage over the Olentangy Berlin Bears here in set number 2. In the middle. Goodness gracious. Kushal Patium.
So that's the second time they've run that play, and I really like that play. I think they need to keep going back to that. What they're doing is they're taking their middle and running the 31 or the gap set, and that's the distraction. And then the outside hitters coming in for the inside 2 ball, and that's working, and it's really confusing the Hudson Explorers.
Patium is a 6'4" junior. Back row set, off the touch and down. Another point for Owen Stearns, who is playing lights out here early on.
So the rules are you keep setting your best hitter until the other team stops him or he stops himself. And so I expect that ball to continue to go to Owen Stearns.
Stearns now with 15 attacks, 6 errors, 4 kills. Patium comes up with another point. That's his 19th attack, 8 kills against 4 errors, and now he's at the serving line. She's Jackie Klein, I'm Chris Solwecki. Bree Stidd spinning the dials for us here, and there is an air-mailed serve. Bree from TKDS, appreciate them.
So looking at our lineups right now, Jet Boyce is front row for the Bears. He's the setter, okay? Ball needs to go to the outside here in order to be hit over Hudson's setter, who's the shortest on the team, which is what they did. But boy, those Explorers, they're scrappy.
There's a backside slide, good pass across. And another point for Owen Stearns, who in set number 2 has found his rhythm.
And all that happened because Sam Disney buckled up on that right back position and dug that line ball. He dug it high to the middle of the court. We call that the dig bucket. Get it to the dig bucket. And then they're able to run their offense off of that transition.
Bumps it to the backside. Good dig. That one gets into the block. And a great job by Olentangy Berlin. Number 3, Jet Boyce with the block.
Okay, that's what the Bears need. Anytime you get a block, it's a momentum shifter.
Yeah.
It really just changes your confidence level as a team and as a player. So Jet Boyce, he needs to continue to stay on Owen Stearns because that's probably where the ball is going to go.
You don't want overpasses like that. Stearns again, they do keep it alive to the Bears. Back row set to Patium. Good dig in the back row. Bump set. Stearns again. Tries to cut it. Hit the ball a little bit and it didn't cross the net. Point goes to Olentangy Berlin.
So we talked about you keep setting your best hitter until the other team stops him or he stops himself. Okay, there's an example. He just stopped himself on a really weird shot. So the ball's probably going to go to the middle here is what I'm going to expect if they can handle it.
Come down the line, and that's a miss. As the swing and miss by Owen Stearns. And Berlin trying to climb back in. It's 14-9. The jump serve by Kai Price, and he serves it into the net. That's going to be a service error and comes back to Hudson. And here is the setter, Jackson Battaglia to serve. Battaglia has done a nice job. Serves middle back, outside. Gently tossed across, and a great coverage by Hudson to keep it alive. And even better court vision by Olentangy Berlin as Patium watched that ball land just outside the line.
So So now both setters are now in the back row, okay? So Lusk is back in. Remember, that's our left side attacker for the Bears. And then now having 3 hitters for the Explorers gives them a little bit of a better advantage because they don't like having that short blocker up in the front row.
Dump across, good court awareness there. Swing by Stearns into the block and out of bounds. That point goes to Hudson. And now Owen Stearns goes to the serving line, which probably causes the Bears to have a little bit of a sigh of relief, knowing he's going to be in the back row at least for 3 rotations here.
Except when he hits it on 2.
That's right.
Which we'd
From
love
the
to
back
see
row,
that
that's
again.
right. Here comes Stearns with a serve. Nice one. Patcham with a great dig. Near side. Bump back row. Stearns from way back. Good reception. Little confusion, but handled by Berlin. In the middle. Trying to keep it alive. Does. Nice job. And into the block. Stearns took something off of that one, and it hit and went straight down the front of Ty Cunningham for the point.
And I am expecting a little bit of a dispute because it looked like the Hudson Explorers went under the net, okay? So there was some hands on the floor, but there wasn't a full hand over, so they're going to let it go.
Yeah, Coach Jim Cornette was very concerned about that play, and he was up talking to the floor official about it. And she explained what you just explained, which is he was within his right. He wasn't all the way across. Off the touch and down. Point for Hudson.
So let's talk a little bit about blocking.
Yeah.
Okay. So blocking, when you're up there, you want to press as far as you can over the net, and you want to get your arms as straight as possible. What we're seeing on the Bears side right now is they're pressing, but they're not getting their arms completely straight. So it's becoming kind of like a loose noodle up there. And so they're easily getting tooled, and the Explorers are seeing that.
Off the touch. Lusk across. Good dig into the net. Can they clear it? They do on a free ball. The Bears on the attack. Back set. Big swing down the line and off the face of Owen Stearns. Goodness gracious. Jacob Lusk.
So that's the rhythm they want, okay? We haven't seen that since the beginning of first set. Now they are going to check on Owen Stearns because he just took a really fast ball to the face. Which is live, though.
Yeah.
You know, if it were to get up, it could have been playable, but we do want to make sure that he's healthy and ready to go.
He received that one. They were smart to go right at him. Back set, down the line, point for Hudson.
James Hummel running that back set pretty quick back there. It's about the height of the antenna, you know? So as a blocker, it's pretty hard to make that move quick, especially if you're real tall and you got to get your arms moving real fast.
Hummel serves an ace down the line. Patium watched it land on the line. 20-12, Hudson with the lead. Hummel at the serving line for the Explorers. Middle back, Bears on the attack. Outside, Lusk down in the middle and right off the left side of Hummel for the point.
So Lusk's rhythm and his fire is bringing a lot to the team, but unfortunately he's rotating now to the back row as a server, you know? So Jeb Boyce has got to find a rhythm with some of his other hitters or utilize him back row if he can.
Cross-court swing out of bounds. Good effort by Owen Stearns. Stearns now hitting negative for the match. He's had 23 attacks, but 10 errors against 7 kills. He'll keep swinging, though. Lusk sets to the outside. Down in front. That's Patium with a good swing.
Okay, now we're seeing a little fire coming from the Bears, okay? I've been kind of hoping for a little bit of fun coming from their side. And so they've been very serious, and maybe that's what they need to talk about in this huddle right now is, guys, let's just have a good time. Let's see if we can string some points together.
Timeout taken on the floor. Let's go ahead and take one as well. 20-15, Hudson with the lead in set number 2. More to come after this on the NFHS Network. So set number one went to the Hudson Explorers in what was an epic first set, 29-31. The Explorers got past Olentangy Berlin. Now they have a commanding 5-point lead late in set number two. But Olentangy Berlin to serve, and out of the timeout, serves it right into the net. Goes Jacob Lusk. The point goes to Hudson. They're up 6. And to the serving line goes number 11, Sam Disney.
So we talked about error management at the beginning of this set. You know, one of the cardinal rules is you don't miss a serve after a timeout. That's one of those things. And after you get to 20, you're in the red zone, and that's when every serve's got to go inbounds.
Bump to the near side. Off the touch. That's a point. Owen Stearns gets it to go.
Very calculated there. I mean, we're right next to Owen Stearns, and so we're able to see how his eye work is happening, and he saw those fingers and went for them on purpose on that tool shot.
Disney again. Middle back. Good reception. Bears on the attack. Patium out of bounds. No touch called. Point for Hudson. And now they are 2 points away from winning the first two sets of this semifinal matchup. Disney again, high toss, big swing, down the line. Patium digs it. Can they keep it alive? They will get a free ball across. Here come the Explorers outside. Stearns into the block. Disney, Stearns again, off the touch. In the middle, finds the back corner. Good swing by Zapponi. He saw the empty space and found it.
He's got a really fast arm. So a hard, or heavy, fast arm like that, it's hard to dig the ball, let alone they've got to push their arms over a little bit quicker on the Bears side in order to deflect that ball. Getting a touch results in more of a free ball situation, and they're just having trouble doing that. Set
point here for Hudson. Dinked across, good placement. What great restraint showed by Olentangy Berlin's number 10, Riley Tiernan. So now it'll be Kushal Patium. His team trails by 8. And if that's not bad enough news, the next point for Hudson puts them up 2-0. Back set, off of Patium, out of bounds. And Hudson takes set number 2, 25-16, and they go up 2-0 in this first semifinal match of Division I. More to come after this timeout. Stay right there. We continue on the NFHS Network after this.
Yes!
Yes!
It's a big money bet right there.
I want big money. Can I bet too?
Well, sweetie, betting is gambling, and there are big risks when money's involved.
Risks?
Yes, sweetie. That's why it's only for adults. Let's watch.
Youth who gamble are 4 times more likely to experience a gambling disorder as an adult. Be aware. Check for risks. Guide their choices. Help prevent youth gambling. Visit ChangeTheGameOhio.org. Ready?
It doesn't matter if you're playing hard or working hard. Your workout only works out if you recover right.
Recover.
Chocolate milk helps you recover for what comes next. It's delicious and contains the right mix of protein and carbs to help refuel exhausted muscles.
Ready? Recover. Repeat. Chocolate milk, the official beverage of high school sports, is brought to you by the American Dairy Association Mideast.
Set number 1 went to the Hudson Explorers, 31-29. Set number 2, 25-16, also to the Explorers. So Olentangy Berlin has their work cut out for them, to say the least, down 2-0. And Hudson just needs one more to move on to the championship game, which would be an amazing accomplishment for them. But if you were sitting in the huddle for the Bears, what do you say into those kids as they come out to play this very important third set?
I would really be focusing on blocking arms. Arms have to get over fast, and they've got to lock out sooner. That would be number 1. Number 2, it's down to error management. Which team's just playing cleaner? And right now, Hudson is just playing a cleaner game at the right moments, okay? For example, you can't miss serves in crucial moments or make a hitting error, and that's just kind of what we saw from the Bears in the past 2 sets.
Tied at 1 after the point by Ty Cunningham for the Bears. And to the serving line now is Mitch Moran. Overpass, dug out. Here comes Hudson on the attack. Out of bounds off the block. Good swing by number 24, James Hummel, to get the point.
So again, that's another blocking situation. So Lusk's arms didn't actually go and penetrate over the net early enough. When the ball hit his arms, they were still on his side. So that's just something they need to focus on. If they can go ahead and reach for the ball on the other side, they're going to make more blocks or at least some more plays.
Now, lest anybody out there think, oh, this one's over, we don't have a chance, we're down 2-0. We've seen teams come back from 2-0 on a pretty consistent basis. Certainly in this environment, it's a little harder to do, but the reality is concentration, focus, error management, all of those things can lead to a turnaround if you work hard enough.
Right, and it really comes down to rhythm. Yeah. So they just haven't found their rhythm. You know these guys know how to play good volleyball. It's just serve and pass game is so important. They have to pass the ball up, and then the ball has to be delivered in a position where they can make a good contact. And they just the setter-hitter connection seems to be what's off today.
An attack error by the Bears. Hudson has the 4-2 advantage as Olentangy is serving for Hudson right now. Back set very high. A Lusk. Lusk goes way up there. He's that 6'6", just unbelievable elevation, wingspan, everything that you want from a volleyball player. He's got it all, and he went up and hammered that one home.
And he's hitting the best for the team. So he came into this third set at hitting a 200 hitting percentage. And so getting him the ball is probably the smart way to go.
There's a nice quick one from Hudson to James Hummel, and he went up in the middle and was able to swipe that one home for the point. Hudson leads by 2. Hummel to the serving line, sets it to the backside. Lusk finds the back line. Good job, good self-control, taking a little something off of that one to try to paint that back line.
And now that Boyce's front row, running that D, which is the back row attack out of the right side, is crucial for giving them an additional hitter in their offense.
Stearns with the reception. Back row, Hummel off the touch, trying to keep it alive. Going to be tight at the net, couldn't get it across. So the ball was deflected, and then a Berlin player went to the deck, and as he did, he got basically in the way of the next Berlin player up and made it impossible to get the ball across the net.
It seems like both guys are okay, though.
Yeah.
I was a little concerned. Mitch Moran landed a little bit hard on that one, but he looks like he's good to go.
Sam Disney at the serving line. Back row swing by Patium, and it's into the net and down. The point after the block by Zapponi puts the ball back in Hudson's hands, leading 7-4. And Sam Disney continues.
Sam Disney's to the line, but you know who their biggest fan is Jake Disney.
Sam's brother.
I got to meet with him, and what a fun guy. He's up here dancing and cheering on the team and his brother. It's so fun to see. You know, the fan experience is just as important as the athlete's experience.
Well, the fan and the family. I mean, you know, you get, as kids grow up through the ranks, so to speak, it's harder for parents to follow kids in college, you know, and if you're fortunate enough to play professionally, that becomes really challenging. But in high school, the family comes together. Mom, dad, brother, they're all there watching. And, you know, mom and dad, none of them could be more excited about the chance to see Sam play because they're a military family that's moved around a lot. So this has become home, and how much fun is it for home to be this environment on this weekend.
Yep.
8-5, Hudson with the advantage. Berlin with the serve. Good dig in the back row. Off the serve by Kai Price. Into the block, Hudson on the attack again. And we've got a net violation. And so the point goes to Hudson on the side out.
So the Bears they're not really catching a break. You know, there's a net violation, there's some connection errors, and Hudson's really just kind of benefiting from some of those unforced errors.
Back row set, Potium goes up, swings, sends it out of bounds. And I've seen Potium, I've seen Lusk, I've seen some of the Bears with some body language that you're not necessarily excited to see. Not pointing at anybody, just kind of pointing at themselves and saying, I need to be better.
I think the momentum's got to shift. So if it's going to shift, it's going to be because these guys start having a real good time with it. You can see the Explorers, man, they are just coming together, and they seem to be a family out there on that floor. And you talked about the communication earlier. You can really feel it here in the gym also.
Timeout taken on the floor. 11-5, Hudson with the advantage over the Bears of Olentangy Berlin. If they win this set, they will sweep the Bears and move on to play at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon in the state championship matchup. Now, side note to this whole event and this whole experience, tomorrow at 9, Olentangy Berlin goes through graduation. So those kids who are seniors, should they maybe come back and win, they will walk at 9 o'clock. They will walk right onto a bus perhaps and head over here to play a 1 o'clock matchup if they're able to get to that place. And so lots to think about when you're an 18-year-old and you've got walking to do and you've got parents to honor and you've got teachers to celebrate. And then, oh, by the way, I've got a volleyball championship playing this weekend too.
It's got to be pretty heavy,
yeah.
Not only for the athletes, but for the parents, but all possible. We can all do hard things. And the Bears can very much come back from this right now, So the serve and pass game has to come out right now. They have to be able to handle this serve and then deliver a ball, I would suggest, to the outside.
Fisher Zapponi serves an ace over the head of Mitch Moran. And now Hudson leads by 7. Zapponi gets the whistle, skips forward and serves it into the net.
Just an uncharacteristic serving error there, okay? He was trying to go short, but usually they're pretty clean. Just unfortunate serving error.
Good serve, but into the net. And I guess that's the thing I'm seeing right now, Jackie, and I'm certainly not trying to be critical of these kids, but when a mistake gets made by Hudson, they kind of smile and laugh it off. Of course, they've got a 2-0 lead. They can afford to do that. Olentangy Berlin, it feels like every mistake is the end of the world. Like their body language, their facial expressions, all of it expresses the dire consequence of that mistake. That one goes out of bounds. The point will come back to Olentangy Berlin.
So the Bears are not catching a break at all. The officials are saying that there was a touch on that play. So despite the ball going out of bounds, they're saying that the Bears touched it. I couldn't see that. However, these officials, like you said earlier, are voted by the coaches as some of the best. And they have a better angle than we do.
Well, and the latter official was basically saying that's, I'm not going to overrule it unless I saw it. So it wasn't his call to make in that case. Quick one in the middle, into the block and straight down. Tremendous block by number 22, Christian Renna.
I am going to take back everything that I said. At the very beginning of this match, I said I don't expect big stuff blocks coming from Hudson. I don't expect hard-driven kills, and we have seen both.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Dinked across by Stearns. Here's Stearns. He sends it to the backside, into the block and down. And Berlin does a nice job of that.
So now it comes down to runs, okay? So the Bears have to get a few points from this service line. They've got to get runs of 3 points before they give up anything else. That's the only way they can come back here.
Mitch Moran looking to do just that. Good serve, middle back, dug out by Zapponi. Set to the near side. Hummel sends it across, and we've got a net violation called on Olentangy Berlin.
And we're starting to see real frustration coming out, which is expected.
Sure.
We have a good view of the net. I didn't see a net call, but however, the referees both have a really great angle on that. And so a shirt counts as a net violation.
Right.
So even if your uniform or your shorts touch the net, that is considered a net.
Good pace on that swing from the back row. That was Jackson Battaglia to get that point home. 17-7. Hudson with the lead. And to the serving line goes number 4, Owen Stearns. This will be his second serve of this rotation. High toss, big swing. Good reception. That one's tight at the net. Good job by Lusk going up. Dinked across. Outside. Good swing by Kushal Patiam. Great placement.
And that's the rhythm we've been looking for and asking for. So it definitely feels good to have that in their back pocket. But now again, we're talking about runs. We need runs of points from the service line. That means they need to live in gravity here and keep that ball inbounds.
Matthew Kleeman serving for the Bears. Back set. Off the touch and down. Side out for Hudson. 18-8 and a timeout. Not a timeout. Coach is asking for clarification. He said that ball was out. And a yellow card is being issued to the Olentangy Berlin bench.
So let's explain these cards.
Yeah, please
okay?
do.
So a yellow card is just a warning. It's just a, hey, coach, you need to just back off, okay? Now, if he were to get a red card, that's a different story. The point is awarded to the other team. And a yellow and a red card together is when you are removed from the game. So I also believe at the high school level, and I'm so sorry to the referees that are listening, but I think if you get a red card, you have to sit down. That has to become the next thing. So
good serve to Stearns. Down middle back, tight at the net. Overpass that was spiked home by Zapponi.
Zapponi, he is so quick in the middle. He's doing a good job of pressing over on the block, and in that situation was a joust situation, and he just kind of funneled it over to that right side, and he did it super quick.
Sent across, back set. Patiam, cross court, it's down. Nice swing by Patiam.
So the Bears need to be observant on that. That ball that has been hit cross court to zone 5 corner has scored every single time. So that's where they need to start aiming, right towards that line judge that's in that corner.
Patiam, that's an ace. Big swing by Kushal Patiam.
And that's the way you got to think. You got to go for it at some point, So with his arm, he's the one that we want that risk versus reward. And that was the risk that they took on that fast serve. And the reward was the ace.
Stearns with the reception. Free ball across by Disney. Here comes the Bears on the attack. Middle swing. It's down. Point for Berlin's number 8, Mitch Moran.
So I call that play the left inside. When the 3 goes and then the outside hitter comes inside, and they score every time off of it. And so if they can get a good pass, which you always get a good pass off of a free ball for the most part, that's the play to run.
Timeout on the floor. Hudson leads by 7, but the momentum is easing its way towards Berlin. We'll find out what happens next. Right now, a timeout on the NFHS Network. Out of the timeout. Potcham with a high toss, big swing. Stearns with a reception. Bump set from the back row. Potcham with a reception. Back set. Here comes Lusk off the touch. Kept alive by the Explorers. Disney with a bumper across court. Kleeman with the back set. Good swing, received nicely by Hummel. To the outside, Disney sent across. Trying to keep it alive. We've got a net violation called on number 3 of the Bears, Jet Boyce. That point comes back to Hudson, and they lead by 8 with 5 to go to move into a state championship matchup tomorrow afternoon. Sam Disney with a high toss. Outside, really tight. That was a tough set, and doing everything that he could with it was Mitch Moran. There wasn't much he could do.
Yeah, just a connection issue. But the serve receive was bad also.
Yeah.
You know, it was more of a one pass, meaning there really is only one hitter that he could have set. So it's got to start there.
Here comes Moran on the attack, into the net. Point for Hudson.
So identical situation. The pass went straight up, back in the backcourt, resulting in only one person being set. That's called being out of system.
Yeah.
You know, and being out of system really just doesn't help the rhythm of the game on your side.
Good reception. Quick one in the middle. Good sent across. Stearns. Hudson back to Stearns. Elevates. Good dig by Potcham. Lusk. Kleeman across. Here comes Hudson on the attack. Quick one in the middle. Pushed across. Here come the Bears. Outside. Moran. That's received well by Hudson. Outside. Stearns. Cross court. Kleeman with a dig. Back row. Potcham. It's out.
That was a tough call. It was very close to the line. The ball was called out of bounds, but the Bears are upset because it was very close. It may have hit the line. Now this is where, like in the college world or in the professional world, you now have challenges.
Yeah.
You can ask them to review the footage. We just don't necessarily have the funding for that at this level in high school yet.
Well, and they've gotten to the place now where they have cameras all over the floor, and all, it's like every angle is being able to be caught by a camera as opposed to one, way up there and all of that. So I would love to see high schools get to that, but there's a lot of work to be done and a lot of money to be raised for that to happen.
You're absolutely right. It's a funding thing. Some pro leagues are not even using human officials. They're only using the lines.
Yeah.
The technology, to read the lines.
Down the line, and that is a point for Olentangy Berlin. They are not going quietly. They're battling to the very end. Kai Price to the serving line. High toss, big swing. That's way out. And now it's match point for the Hudson Explorers. Fisher Zapponi for match point. In the middle, dunked across, the point for Berlin. Good job by number 18, Ty Cunningham in the middle.
So the Explorers have 9 chances to win here.
Yeah.
They have a pretty good odds, but you never want to.
Middle, Stearns sends it across. A net violation called against Olentangy Berlin. And that'll do it. Hudson gets the point, and they win the first semifinal matchup in straight sets, 31-29, 25-16, 25-15. They will face the winner of the second semifinal matchup, which is Archbishop Moeller and Thomas Worthington. That coming up in just a little while. But first, Jackie, your thoughts on this Hudson Explorer team and the domination they just demonstrated.
We talked at the beginning of today a little bit about how they matched up against Berlin twice already, and Berlin beat them 2 times, okay? It's just kind of how the world works in sports. When you play somebody a 3rd time, the advantage usually goes Hudson's way, okay? However, they played so clean. They just played a clean game of volleyball. They weren't trying to be showy or anything like that. And that is what set them apart today. Their error management, they kept the ball in play. And there wasn't, we saw a lot of net errors over on the Berlin side, service errors at crucial moments. And so that's what set Hudson apart today.
From a comparison perspective, side out percentage all about Hudson, 66-49. They had 2 fewer blocks, and I would have expected the block disparity to be much, much bigger given the front line of the Olentangy Berlin Bears. 3 more service aces, 5 fewer service errors, and their hit percentage was 21.6 versus 0.94 for Olentangy Berlin. So statistically, the numbers don't lie. It was a day for Hudson to celebrate. They've done a lot of things right. They mitigated mistakes, as you mentioned, and all of the things we thought were going to be benefits for the Bears. That front row at the net, blocking, attacking, all of that has played itself out to be much more even than we anticipated.
Or even weaknesses at that point. And so we did expect to see a little bit more fight coming from the Bears. I do think that some of the calls didn't go their way, where it did go the way of the Explorers. However, at the end of the day, it was a fun game to watch.
Oh, yeah.
These guys, the Explorers definitely had the rhythm that we were looking for, and the communication and the fun. And I expect these Bears to be back here on this stage in future years.
The Olentangy Berlin Bears finished their season with a record of 21-6. For Hudson, they have one more game or match to face, and that will be tomorrow. Their record improves for the moment to 21-5, and they will square off against the winner of Thomas Worthington and Archbishop Moeller, which is coming up next. We hope you'll stay with us all afternoon for volleyball here through the NFHS network from Pam Evans Smith Arena. Until the next one, which starts at 2 o'clock. We'll be on the air just a little bit before 2. We want to say congratulations to the Explorers, who sweep the Bears 3-0 and get set for a championship tilt tomorrow afternoon. Until the second semifinal, for my partner Jackie Klein, for our broadcast engineer Bree Stidd, I'm Chris Solwecki. Thanks so much for listening and watching. We'll see you next time, everybody.